Hi there, welcome back, and thank you for joining me on this video, which I consider to be not only the most important question that I think St. Thomas Aquinas is trying to get across in the Summa Theologica, but it's also the most important question that we can ask as human beings, and namely, that is, can we come to know God? I believe that this is why Thomas wrote the Summa. I think he was spending the entire Summa explaining that yes, in fact, we can come to know God. So we're going to take a few articles and portions out of articles in this video and explain why it is that St. Thomas Aquinas does come to the conclusion that we can, in fact, come to know God. We're in the first part of the Summa, question 12, article 1, and he asks whether any created intellect can see the essence of God. Now, created intellects would include angels and us, and he's saying, can we see the essence of God? To see the essence of God and to know God, pretty much the same thing as far as what Thomas Aquinas describes. And he says, since everything is knowable according as it is actual, God, who is pure act, without any admixture of potentiality, is in himself supremely knowable. So there's the answer right there. Okay, there's going to be more. But he's saying, yes, absolutely. Not only is God knowable, but he is supremely knowable. But what is supremely knowable in itself may not be knowable to a particular intellect on account of the excess of the intelligible object above the intellect, as, for example, the sun, which is extremely visible, cannot be seen by the bat by reason of its excess of light. All right, here's an example. I like to use this example. Here's a dog, and if you try to explain to the dog a algebra formula, you're going to not get very far because it's not in the nature of a dog to understand advanced math or any math for that matter. It's not in its nature. It doesn't have that kind of a mind, right? So keep that in mind as we talk about us coming to know God, because we are to God as the dog is to algebra, okay? God is above us. We can't come to know him through our nature. So Thomas asks whether any created intellect can see the essence of God, for as the ultimate being. Now listen to this. This is so beautiful. This is like poetry to me. I think this is one of the most beautiful paragraphs in the entire Summa, because it is Thomas explaining how we can know through our own experience of life that we can in fact come to know God. So let me read this. For as the ultimate beatitude of man consists in the use of his highest function, which is the operation of his intellect, if we suppose that the created intellect could never see God, it would either never attain to beatitude, or its beatitude would consist in something else besides God, which is opposed to faith, because we are told that our end is beatitude, our end is heaven. So he's saying, okay, if we can't attain that, then we've been lied to, and that would be opposed to faith, and we know that God can't lie, right? For there resides in man, every man, a natural desire to know the cause of any effect which he sees, and thence arises wonder in men. But if the intellect of the rational creature could not reach so far as to the first cause of things, the natural desire would remain void. I hope that makes sense to you, because it's one of the, like I said, one of the most beautiful paragraphs in the entire Summa. And here's what he's talking about, okay? We are surrounded by beauty everywhere we look. Now, you may not have seen something this beautiful in the sky, but I presume this is something that actually has existed. Something like this, certainly you've seen. I see beautiful sunsets on a nightly basis and sunrises. Absolutely stunning and breathtaking, right? And we see creatures like this orangutan, and in a normal functioning person, we should say, wow, that's really fascinating. I want to know more about the creator of this creature here, right? And most especially, we see beautiful children, and we see beautiful adults, and we see beauty all around us. And we really have to train ourselves to say, you know what, I want to know more. I want to know the cause. Where did this come from? And that's what Thomas is saying here, is that we wonder and we say, there's got to be something behind this. There's a cause, and I want to know that cause. And if all this is leading me to futility, then a horrible trick has been played on you and me, or we've been lied to, and we know that God can't lie. So Thomas is saying, we have wonder, we have awe, there's beauty that surrounds us. These are effects of some kind of cause. Remember the second proof for the existence of God was the first cause, right? Thomas goes on in the third articles to say whether the essence of God can be seen with the bodily eye. Okay, can we see God physically with our eyes? He says it is impossible for God to be seen by the sense of sight or by any other sense or faculty of the sensitive power, for every such kind of power is the act of a corporeal organ, the eyes, right? Now, act is proportional to the nature which possesses it, hence no power of that kind can go beyond corporeal things. For God is incorporeal, hence he cannot be seen by the sense or the imagination, but only by the intellect. So we see God through our intellect. Now, let me just wrap this up with one more, a couple more articles here. Whether any created intellect by its natural powers can see the divine essence, okay? He says it is impossible for any created intellect to see the essence of God by its own natural power, for knowledge is regulated according as the thing known is in the knower. But the thing known is in the knower according to the mode of the knower. Hence the knowledge of every knower is ruled according to its own nature. If therefore the mode of anything's being exceeds the mode of the knower, it must result that the knowledge of the object is above the nature of the knower. Okay, so we can't know God by our own nature, right? So we can't see God as we would see, a flower or an apple, right? But at the same time, he said already, God is supremely knowable. So how does this all jive? Well, here's the clincher. All right, Article 5, whether the created intellect needs any created light in order to see the essence of God. Everything which is raised up above what exceeds its nature must be prepared by some disposition above its nature. But when the created intellect sees the essence of God itself becomes the intelligible form of the intellect. Hence it is necessary that some supernatural disposition should be added to the intellect in order that it may be raised up to such a great and sublime height. Now, since the natural power of the created intellect does not avail to enable it to see the essence of God, it is necessary that the power of understanding should be added by divine grace. Now, this increase of intellectual powers is called the illumination of the intellect. Okay? We should wake up every morning and be very excited that we can come to know God, because dogs and cats and opossums and squirrels and crickets cannot know God, cannot see God. But we can, because we're rational intellectual creatures. And the illumination of the intellect is when God pours down his grace upon us and allows us to surpass and exceed our nature so that his promise to us is fulfilled, that we are able to see the essence of God. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed teaching it. It's really fascinating, and this lays the groundwork of all the rest of the things that Thomas is going to teach in the Summa, because if we can't know God, life is a waste of time, at least for a rational creature, right? If we can't know God, we've been lied to, but we have not been lied to. We can come to know God. Thanks for watching. God bless you.